Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us for today's episode of Trade the Chain. It is March 17th, 2021. It is Wednesday. It's hump day. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. I'm joined by Ryan, the best hair crypto Gorman, CJ Amonte, crypto analyst from marketrebellion.com, and we're happy you could be here. We have a fantastic episode today. We're gonna go over a bunch of different tickers after the big board, including Enjin, Mana, Golem, and of course we'd be remiss if we didn't address Stmx, Stormx's price action on the overnight. So I hope all you bag holders are happy about that, because that was a huge boost. And then at the wrapping it all up, Ryan will hit us out with some big news coming out of Morgan Stanley today. So that'll be quite interesting to see where we're at. But before we begin, Ryan, to you, sir.
Thank you, Alex. Great show on tap today. And just a quick shout out to everyone celebrating St. Patrick's Day, like myself. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And a quick reminder that nothing, content, or anything that you see on Trade the Chain is investment advice. It's strictly for information and educational purposes only. Do not listen to us at all. Don't listen to CJ, Monty, Alex, or myself.
Nobody listens to me anyway.
I just get called out in the comments. Trade the Chain is brought to you by TradeTheChain.com, a global community of traders, 24/7 sharing ideas, all using AI-driven sentiment indicators and actionable alerts to help them beat the market and trade like a crypto insider. You too can check us out at TradeTheChain.com and check it and get a 14-day trial if you're not already a member.
Let's check out the dash today. Pretty bullish all around as Bitcoin tries to put in that higher low and battle against some of the moving averages. We'll check out in just a moment. Moving over to marketrebellion.com/crypto. This is Monty and myself and our community at Market Rebellion. And with us, you get exclusive access to our trade insights, our macro portfolio allocations, a pro charting platform, a trading education curriculum, and an elite community of traders all throughout the world, and much more. If you're serious about trading crypto, this is the service that gives you everything you need all in one place. You can start your first month trial for just $1 at marketrebellion.com/crypto. And so another thing here I would just like to share is a shot of Alex leaving his apartment the other day. Let me see if I scroll through my files.
Oh, man.
It's taking a little bit. I apologize.
How did you catch me on security cam? What was going on here? And why were you stalking me?
We're trying to find out what you're buying, Alex. We got to see
what's in my bag.
Yeah.
First of all, while he's doing that, I just want to say, if you didn't catch the episode, shoot. All right, you got me with my Stormx bag. That's classic, man. That's thank you. Thanks for putting that together. Real quickly before the big boards, if you didn't catch our episodes yesterday was a fireworks of a day. We had a live stream with Steve Ehrlich from Voyager, as well as we had our big portfolio reveal on Trade the Chain with our good friend Rob over at Digital Asset News. And then, of course, you just noticed that I was caught with my Stormx bag.
Yeah, so with that being said, let's jump into the big boards. Taking a look at Bitcoin here today. I got to be honest, the trend looks pretty nice. I mean, obviously we fell and we've broken through the Williams alligators to the point in which they are turning over and compressing now. But, we got a little bit of a rejection when we back tested off of 45K. What I'm watching for now, and I think is probably most likely what will happen, is that Monty's been talking a lot about stimulus checks and then coming in and going to Bitcoin. I think that's probably going to happen as well. And so what I'm going to be looking for on the 4-hour chart is for this level at 45K, or excuse me, 54K to hold. It's doing a nice job of holding that so far. And then I'm looking for some bullish price action to have a flush break above these Williams alligators levels, and then ultimately 56.1. I think that's the critical level. If we can close above there, then the bullish trend is likely to resume on the 4-hour chart, because you can see that was pretty much the scenario and the pattern that played out here. We remained rejected all throughout this downtrend until the bulls were strong enough to be able to break above those channels and resume the bull trend. The other thing that I really like on the daily chart that I'll mention before passing it off to Monty is that although we are on a red 3 sequential after coming down off of this 9, this green hammer candle off of the previous support level is a very bullish sign from the daily chart. When we get these hammer candles, typically they're followed by strength, and that's still what we're seeing for the most part on the daily. So like I said, gonna watch for that close above 56K for the time being. If we close below 54K, then that could be a little bearish and would need some further analysis. But right now, everything looks pretty bullish.
Yeah, CJ, I largely agree with you. So I'll be quick with my assessment on Bitcoin since we have plenty to get to today. But yeah, I'm in large agreement with you here. I think it's very encouraging that last night we found support at that level you highlighted here of 54K. We got a nice wick down to it, followed by a very strong green 1 candle here on the 4-hour chart. One level I would just like to bring to your attention as a possible level of a breakout is extending this TD support here. If you extend that all the way across, we get some kind of potential resistance here at around 57.6. So I think if we break out above this level, I expect a run up between 57 and 61 to happen in one 4-hour candle. So we might experience a little bit of resistance here. We're already kind of pulling back just a bit, but I expect this trend to continue today. Like CJ said, I've been talking a lot about stimulus money. So I think that this truly is the new higher low and that there's nowhere to go but up from here.
The Fed, thanks for that, guys. The Fed just announced, I guess, in its own way, that interest rates are going to remain zero for the foreseeable future. And this is something that most people in the markets expected to be the case. Do you think that's why Bitcoin hasn't really reacted to it as it has in the past? Was it largely priced in?
Yeah, I think that could have something to do with it. I'm going to quickly pull back up the chart too, because that's definitely something you need to take into consideration, is kind of the fact that the news tends to get priced in early. I think that's exactly what happened, Ryan. I think that was kind of anticipated. And I just want to translate that to kind of what's happening this week. I worry a bit that what we saw here with this run up to 61K on this sequential 9 was kind of almost the exact same thing. And that was kind of people front running the stimulus check news, because at this point it was already imminent. People knew it was coming. And now that it's hit, I'm worried that we won't get as profound of an effect as we would have had this not been completely priced in. So yeah, Ryan, I agree. That is something that I think is very true with the rates and also with possibly the stimulus checks as well.
Great question. I need to pause and go off topic for a second. I don't know if any of you guys read the comment. The reason I was watching Ryan ask that question, and it spurred this. The other day, do you remember when Monty and Ryan got into the ring about NFTs? Did any of you see Ryan's door behind him? And did anybody read the comments where the viewers picked up on it? How the door opened and nobody came through. And
I noticed that too while we were arguing. I noticed that, and it kind of derailed my train of thought a little bit. I thought it was like some sort of argument tactic.
It was like Amityville House of Horrors, man.
No, that was my dog, and you couldn't see her because she's small, like this big, and she's kind of like moping around because she's not feeling well. And she kind of just slinked in, and she went behind me and then under my desk and just laid down at my feet. But yeah, I saw that after the fact, and my wife was watching with me when we were watching the episode, and she was just like, what was that?
People freaked out, man. People honestly freaked out. All right, very cool. Let's move on. We got four tickers to discuss. Really excited about it. Let's move on to our NFT aligned ones, Mana and Enjin. Monty, can you bring us into that and kind of run through those for us real quick?
Yes, with pleasure. You guys know I love NFTs at this point, but yeah, the one I want to mainly talk about here, I think they're both worth talking about because we're kind of getting some pretty nice actually divergence between two assets that are in the same sector, and that is Enjin and Mana. So first, looking at Mana, you can see that we got a very nice bounce here off this level of 0.77 on a red TD9, and we got a really nice pop back. So I think we can get a few things from this. One, it's not only fundamentals and news that are driving this market cycle. The technicals are still very valid, because looking at this 4 hour, when I was watching this last night, I was thinking this is a very strong indication of a reversal. And sure enough, we got a very nice one here. Now, the thing that we need to watch with Mana is this psychological level of $1. The first time we crossed this threshold, we had significant momentum from all this buzz around NFTs. We were able to smash right through it. But now that we've kind of been rejected from our high and put in a new higher low here, we're going to experience a lot more selling pressure here at $1. So what I'm watching here with Mana is for a breakout above $1. I think once that does happen, when we get a candle close, potentially this 2 candle here, if this can close above $1, I expect a clear run up later today to the previous all-time high of $1.20. So I think that is something that is definitely worth noting. And then, like I said, I want to talk about Enjin as well, because this is one that made me nervous, because I was talking about it so much yesterday that a lot of people kind of started FOMOing into it. And I still like it as a long-term play. But going back to what I was saying about how kind of the space is largely dictated by the news around it, as well as kind of the hype in the space. And I think you can see that from the sentiment. The daily sentiment for these two assets, Enjin and Mana, is relatively similar, being neutral. But the long-term sentiment for both assets is still very bullish. So I think we're in a period where, that chart won't load, I think we're in a period where kind of we're getting some divergence between these two. One, because of the technicals, and two, just because they're largely at different price points. They saw different run-ups to different extents. I think Enjin's kind of facing the hardships of getting past $3 of psychological resistance. But I think this is really worth noting that these aren't always driven by news cycles. People think that these assets are entirely hype. But as you can tell by looking at Mana, there is some validity to the technicals with these assets as well.
We all know what happened with the difference between Enjin and Mana, right? They're both looking similar, having similar performance recently. I buy one, I didn't buy the other. We know which one went down.
Well, that doesn't happen to you, Ryan.
That's called reverse financial advice right there. No, and it's interesting because yesterday when we did our portfolio reveal, I believe each of us actually had a position in Enjin, which was surprising. And I think out of the 5 of us that revealed that position, 3 of us, when asked why do we own it, said we just FOMO'd in because of Monty, which is totally okay. FOMO is not a bad thing. So, all right, moving on to the next one. Golem.
Wait,
Yeah,
before we go to Golem, that type of conversation, if it were any other asset that weren't crypto, there'd be someone in the background screaming, top. People are just FOMOing into it at the top of its price point, right?
I'll tell you, when Enjin was a SIG dev, just 2 short months ago, I believe it was, that thing popped out of the gate on its listing, and it really hasn't stopped since. There's a lot of followers of Enjin, and they have some high hopes for it. So
before we get to Golem,
are we going to do KNC?
Up finally waking up. KNC here, breaking its previous all-time high and looking very bullish.
Oh my
We've been
gosh,
talking
look
about
at
this one
this.
for a while. I think we're
Ooh.
on the road to possibly $3 and $4 now, but I don't mean to interrupt. I want to go to Golem.
CJ, I've been waiting for this for so long. I mean, ever since you started, going over KNC, its low market cap, the lock-in velocity of Ethereum on DeFi's. It's great to see KNC having this deck. Awesome. All right, Golem.
Ooh, look at that.
GLM.
So here's the thought process behind the Golem trade. VGX was one of the lowest market caps, if not the lowest market cap on Voyager. A lot of interest came in a short amount of time. The international traders pumped it very hard, and we went to $7. Same thing is happening with Stormx right now. We had an initial pump of like 100%, consolidated for about 2 to 3 weeks, didn't do much of anything, and now we're going up another 100% and are still in that run before potentially reaching another consolidation phase. Stormx was, of course, the lowest market cap on Voyager as well. Golem is now the new lowest market cap coin on Voyager, and it has the potential to move, as we've seen. There has been international volume come in and pump this 100% or over 100% on February 19th of this year. And so those gains have not been given back ever since. Sure, we are coming down and consolidating a little bit here on this moving average, but we saw it happen to VGX. We saw it happen to Stormx. We're beginning to see it happen with Kyber Network, but ultimately, I think Golem is going to be the next one here to do like 70% or something in one day. But that being said, that interest needs to come in, but I'm still bullish. And unless we full on break down from these moving averages on the one day, this thing will probably, I see it testing 60 cents and going back to those all-time highs. But we'll see. I'm curious on what your guys' thoughts are.
Well,
Yes.
I mean, go ahead. First of all, Monty, tell us what Golem does, man.
That was my question. What is Golem?
Yeah, no, I think that's obviously very important, and it's actually kind of my investment thesis for why I'm so bullish on it. I like their utility. So Golem, essentially their goal is to kind of democratize society's access to very good computing power. So they're trying to create a decentralized platform where anyone can build on it by accessing the power of people's computers throughout the world. So basically, you can choose to join the network. When your computer's idling, you can sacrifice your computing power. This is a proof of work concept that is tried and true. And basically, the implications here are that people anywhere in the world, regardless of their physical limitations when it comes to hardware and their proximity to access to hardware, this aims to make that irrelevant and allow people to build decentralized applications on the Golem project by offering sort of decentralized, democratized computing power. So I think it's a really interesting premise. And I think it's timely in the sense that we saw a big push towards the digitization of financial services in 2020, as well as now we saw a digitization of goods with NFTs. So I think that providing a platform where people all across the world can create without having to worry about the actual hardware that they possess with them physically, I think that really opens up a huge world of opportunity here. And beyond that, I think just that utility in itself is something that will appeal to retail traders and that traders will be willing to speculate on going forward. So it's got solid utility, and I'm bullish on it for sure.
That is a beautiful, beautiful narrative, Monty. And
Yeah.
that idea, that realization that people will have of that narrative that you just laid out is likely what will push Golem over $1 in this market cycle. And it will be interesting to see it.
GLM, folks, check it out. All right, listen, real quickly, this is just to over for the last night, the Stmx chart real quick. I mean, ever since we started covering it, we had Simon Yu on. This has gone up 200%, which is amazing. And, you know, we have some bullish predictions on this thing, but look at the action that happened on the overnight with Stormx. It was quite exciting. It was raining
ever closer to that 25-cent price target you have, Alex.
That's my first level, is 25-cent first level price target.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because I joked yesterday on our portfolio reveal that I needed to do some rebalancing because Stormx had become such a significant part of my portfolio. It literally was 5% of my portfolio, and now it's upwards of like 40%. So some crazy price action here, and it's just growing like a weed.
There you go, only the over 2,800%, and your prediction will come to fruition.
That's fine. How far have we gone since February 1st?
Here, yeah. Hang on, I'll get that.
You know, one of the things is this actually on the overnight took over my VGX account's VGX position as well, just from the price action.
We're very close to it overcoming my ETH position and mine. And everyone knows I'm an ETH maxi, so I'm not holding just like a single ETH.
Yeah, that was funny yesterday how you're like, CJ, no ETH?
No ETH?
So yeah,
I don't understand how you could how someone might hold like DeFi assets or other ERC20 assets if they don't also hold the underlying protocol, right? Because then you're double dipping in a sense. It's like owning a wide receiver and a quarterback in a fantasy football league. When the guy throws a touchdown to one of them, you get double the points.
I don't double dip.
Okay.
Secondly, yeah. So Alex, only another 2,800%, and
that's all right. That works out. It's about where we are from you know, the 0.0000001 it was at 2 months ago. So we got room to grow on this one, guys. Ryan, you have some pretty big news coming out of Morgan Stanley today.
Yeah, so this was a surprise when it came out, you know, just before lunch. Morgan Stanley, one of the largest asset managers, largest banks, you know, in the country, if not the world, has told its financial advisors in an internal memo that they can now provide access to wealthy clients for 3 Bitcoin funds. 2 of them are Galaxy Digital funds, the Mike Novogratz company, and then the third is a joint fund between FS Investments and NYDIG. And, you know, they have to have an aggressive risk tolerance and a history of that type of investing, and at least 2 million in assets held with the firm. Other investment firms that want to, that Morgan Stanley invests on behalf of, need to have at least $5 million held at the bank in order to qualify. So, I mean, I'm going to need Stormx to go up quite a bit to be able to get into these.
Come on, Stormy.
Into these funds. But I mean, the bank's wealthier clients now have access to Bitcoin. And if all goes well and there aren't any hiccups, it doesn't seem unreasonable that in not too long a time that perhaps retail clients could have access to this in some shape or form, if not indirectly. I mean, Morgan Stanley has what, 4 trillion in client assets under management? That's a massive firm to be moving into Bitcoin. It's only a matter of time until other firms move into the space as well, because they were very clear about doing this on the heels of client demand. Clients were insisting they get access to this. And now that clients of Morgan Stanley, the wealthier clients, can get access to these funds, then other firms are going to face a similar demand, or these people are just going to go to Morgan Stanley if they want to invest in Bitcoin at the end of the day. And if you have to have that much money invested at the firm in order to invest in the Bitcoin funds, it stands to reason that these other firms could lose a significant portion of AUM from this audience that wants Bitcoin, and the ancillary business from all the other asset trading that they do. I mean, that's a chunk of revenue that they might not be willing to lose, and there could be a significant amount of high net worth retail money coming into Bitcoin in relatively short order.
I think this is interesting. It struck me as particularly interesting because it seems like that the demographic that they're targeting with this move is kind of one that's been missing from the puzzle this entire time, right? Like 2020, we saw massive institutions get on board. And in 2017, we saw kind of the retail traders on Coinbase get involved. But there's really no vehicle for entry, or like that demographic of the wealthy family office investor hasn't so much been targeted by these massive banks and stuff. So I think that there is a massive untapped potential in this demographic, and it's good to see that they're starting to dig in there.
One thing I forgot to add, Alex. Sorry, I just saw this now. Morgan Stanley is limiting Bitcoin investments for these clients to no more than 2.5% of their total net worth, regardless of where assets are held. And you know, the Galaxy Fund, Bitcoin Fund, and the NYDIG Fund have minimum investments of 25,000. The institutional Bitcoin has a fund from Galaxy has a $5 million minimum, so it makes sense that you'd have to hold $5 million in assets at Morgan Stanley in order to invest in it.
I think $5 million is a bit steep on a subscription to the fund. But that being said, I also think this is a great marketing ploy for AUM scraping by Morgan Stanley. You go back to 2018 when Fidelity, came out and said, listen, we're going to start offering our our biggest, wealthiest clients the Bitcoin exposure, so forth and so on, because they're demanding it. Now you have Morgan Stanley coming out saying, listen, we're going to do the same, but you need to have X amount of dollars with us. And like you said, Ryan, if some of those top tier wealthy clients don't have X amount of dollars, and they have some of their X amount of dollars at a firm that doesn't offer Bitcoin exposure, well, guess what? They're going to have some outflows and some inflows going into Morgan Stanley there, collecting some AUM based on this, and we'll see how much they can grab up. Good for them. Great marketing.
It's a smart move, and it's fascinating to see how these old guard Wall Street firms. You have JP Morgan with the debt investment that they announced last week, I guess, about a basket of stocks with crypto exposure. It's going to be fun to see how all these different firms decide how they want to enable access, either directly or indirectly, to Bitcoin for their clients, wealthy or otherwise, as the year goes on.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what that landscape looks like 2 years from now. It's interesting to be on the industry side looking at it 2 years ago. So very cool. All right, folks, thank you for joining us on this beautiful hump day of a Wednesday. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Kudos to Ryan for wearing a special St. Patrick's Day Bitcoin shirt. That's pretty impressive.
I tried to wear green, but the green screen kind of ruins it. See?
Whoa, Monty, where are you going?
That's perfect. If when Enjin goes to 0 and you guys all are trying to find me, this is where I'm going to go.
It's like that GIF of the guy who like throws the 2 fingers up and then just vanishes.
I like it. All right, so hang on to your handlebars, folks. Keep drinking out of those metal straws, and we will see you again tomorrow. Happy trading. Good luck. Go Stormx. Talk to you folks later. Bye-bye.
Slancha.